one thing that I have never realized while being a child is just how young musicians tend to be, especially female musicians, and how short their careers tend to be, or what we tend to consider to be old age inside the music industry. And I am making this video not just because of a tweet that Outstar put out, but it's gonna factor into it, but also because I have been revisiting like early 2000s, mid 2000s pop songs while being kind of nostalgic for that corny feel, and only then did I realize that holy shit, these were children. These were not women, these were children, and as a child I never knew. I thought that they were grown adults, and I found that to be completely normal, and now I am quite shocked, and it's not like it changed. I mean, current stars aren't as over-sexualized, but their careers start in their teenage years. I mean, look at Billie Eilish. She was singing since she was a teenager. I mean, look at Aura. Her hit single came out when she was maybe 14 years old. Look at Willow Smith, that has released an alright song recently, and she is 20 currently. But her first hit single was I Whip My Hair Back and Forth, and I am pretty sure that at that point she was 11. With Willow Smith, with Billie Eilish, and with Aura, the only thing that I can say is that at the very least they were dressed more decently, and their song lyrics weren't just about sex. So that is nice, but we are still looking at industry that takes people into stardom at their teenage years, and then they tend to mostly retire or like disappear off into complete obscurity in their young adult years. And it is frankly quite disturbing, because that point of your life, not only is that must be horrible to deal with, considering that you are going through all of the hormonal changes, but at the same time you're dealing with paparazzi and invasion of your privacy and questions about your dating and sex life, which are highly inappropriate. You are seen as disposable the moment you start showing signs of age, and that is not even like 1/4 of a person's lifespan normally. And then you look at far more niche singers and performers like Tool, like Cell Dweller, and these are men that are well into their 50s that are still doing music because it is their passion, but they're not mainstream. It's not like that system took them and pulled them in and kept them through their developmental years and then spat them out when they weren't physically attractive anymore. And I am doing that with quotation marks, because people's attractiveness does not just like take a nosedive the moment when they reach 18 or 21 or 25. Attractiveness is a rather subjective term, and if you remember the big lady from Resident Evil Village, a lot of people are attracted to her, and she would be in her 40s to 50s. She would be a mature woman, and that's the thing. Mature women can still look fine. They can still carry themselves with beauty and with grace. And it's not necessarily due to plastic surgeries. It is due to the person that you're looking at. You can have signs of age and still be considered sexy, But in this weird youth cult that we got caught up with this weird youth cult that Hollywood is perpetuating and the music industry is perpetuating, it's like, your life is over! The moment when you hit 21 or 25 or early 30s at best, because they go, oh, you are old and unattractive now. And that is not how humanity works. And it is so sad to me that that is what our mainstream media wants us to think that humanity works as. And it gives complexes to otherwise completely normal women. I suppose I could go on and on and on about this topic, but just let me go through the content that I had prepared because I have babbled for 6 minutes now. So anyways, Outstar wrote, I'm sending a telepathic punch in the face to everyone who felt Overphonic robbed Croatia, Romania, anyone yesterday and called their vocalist an old woman. Hashtag Eurovision. Such a good song, such a good class. Love this band forever and always. I googled their age. They're 42. Like, the woman that leads the band, she's 42 years old. I believe that is the picture of her. Come on! Seriously? An old woman? I'm trying to find a picture in which she would look old, and I can't do it. I can't actually do it. She looks perfectly fine to me in all of the pictures. And she should. 42 is not old by any standard. In 42, you can actually still get pregnant and have women and have children. That ends around your 50s. So you're not even at your midlife point yet. We're writing this down as old, as ancient. Why? Because this is Britney Spears' hit single, Baby One More Time, and she was 16 here. This is Rihanna's Pawn the Replay, and she was 17 here. We're writing off 42 as too old for us to interact with, for us to listen to their songs, for fuck's sake. It's not like you actually have to fuck these women, because this is what became normalized, taking women that are barely entering their legal years. In most countries, you couldn't sleep with that, okay? Most countries, the age of consent is 18 at the moment, so we're not even there. We're taking women that are like about 3 years past the start of their puberty. And we're going, yep, this is the pedestal, this is what women look like, this is an adult, this is what an adult should look like, this is what a female adult should look like, and that is just so far from the truth. Jesus, I am 27 now, and I have one person that I interact with. And they're from our tabletop roleplay group, okay? They're 20. They're mad, and they're 20 years old, and everybody else is kind of older than them. I am in some discords where some people will also like vary on age, but I get like such motherly instincts towards that, going, oh, you're such a baby. Do you need help with anything? Do you need some life advice? Do you want to just spill your heart out? Do you need anything? Because you remember that. And you remember that you considered yourself an adult, and for all intents and purposes, I was, and I wouldn't erase any decisions that I made. But it was a really different me. It was me without 6 years of life experience. And I moved out at 18. I went to England at 18, and I was bold, and I made a lot of bold decisions in my life. And it is fine, I was ready for it, but to turn back, could I have entered the music industry and dealt with the paparazzi and the fame and everything at the age of 15, 16? Fuck no. Fuck no. Just the fact that I had to do my exams at 18 after speeding through 2 years worth of studies in 1 year in order for me to be able to go to England earlier and be with a loved one in order to get to university, because I would have had to take a gap year and my family didn't find that acceptable. Just that pressure alone really broke me, and I remember having my first complete mental breakdown back then. To take this and to ask this lady such questions of how is your sex life? Are you dating anyone? When are you getting married? You know, while dealing with never-ending incursion of privacy, never-ending sexualization, the need to create more lewd songs, having people comment on your boob size while you're still a child, while you're still insecure, while you can't just scoff that off. Because if I receive these comments nowadays, I would be like, what is your business, old man? You know, sort of thing. But a 16-year-old isn't gonna do that. It takes, to have that strength of will at that age, it would take such incredible determination and gut, and it's not what majority of teenagers possess. Majority of teenagers are very unsure of themselves. Majority of teenagers have body issues. Majority of teenagers are trying to figure out their place in society, so to normalize and to just say, you know, this is how women look like, this is prime woman for the music industry, and this is old. You know, that is painting such a skewed picture, and it's just, it sat on my mind. It just sat on my mind, that horrific realization that there is such a skewed picture because of ageism and because that need to take children and to make them stars, and I can't really say what that would do to a human psyche. These are... I'm happy that Rihanna looks like she's doing pretty well, and so does Willow, but you're always running that risk of making really broken people by putting them under such pressure at such a young age. Going forward, I just hope that we're gonna be a bit more mindful about creating starlets and what is acceptable and an acceptable way of treating a person that's just entering young adulthood. I would like for us to be more mindful of that. And when I say us, I mostly mean journalists, because your average day Joe will not really have that much influence over it, while your average day journalist that decides to ask all of those inappropriate questions to then parade around the world will. I hope for a better future for all of that, and I hope for less broken celebrities, and I hope for the realization that your life doesn't end at 20, your life doesn't end at 30, your life doesn't end at 40 or 50, and that if music is your calling, it is perfectly fine to practice it no matter you're a man or a woman, and your level of attractiveness shouldn't influence whether or not people listen to your music. And maybe to state that you were at your prime at the age of fucking 16 is a bit abnormal, lads. Maybe just, I don't know, maybe that is the abnormal bit, and not having a 42-year-old woman sing at Eurovision. You know. So that has been my thoughts on the subject. I am so sorry to have burdened you with this video. I hope you don't mind. I really needed to talk this out. Just when you revisit your childhood, it hits different. You know, it hits. It really does hit different. Thank you for watching. And I hope I'm gonna see you the next time. And toodaloo for now.